In the first part of this video, we looked at how mariachi was highly romanticized in Mexico, while banda, which was being developed at the same time, was completely ignored. You should check out that video before proceeding. Banda had two other obstacles to overcome before becoming the underdog of Mexican folk music.
Y de nuevo el ataque, la fuerza musical de Sinaloa, la banda Americano.
So, intellectuals from the capital didn't care for it, but another problem that Banda had was that intellectuals from Sinaloa, its home state, also didn't care for it. In her book, Banda, Mexican Musical Life Across Borders, Elena Simone published excerpts from vintage articles where authors aired their grievances against their homegrown style, and their complaints ranged from thinking banda was too loud, which it is because brass instruments are dramatically louder than, say, stringed instruments, but we'll get back to that in a bit. Since banderos were street musicians, meaning they didn't perform on a stage where a fancy orchestra might set up, those writers thought that banderos had too much freedom to be loud anywhere, which made them vulgar, rambunctious, free people. Incidentally, some of Mexico's most popular ranchera singers, such as José Alfredo Jiménez, went on to record with popular bandas, but according to Elena, the thumbs up came too late, because by then, mariachi had already incorporated the canción ranchera in the 1940s, the heyday of the genre. So besides being ignored by the then influencers, banda had a technical problem which mariachi did not, which is that outside of the recording studio, banda was hard to sing over. That's because wind and brass instruments are dramatically louder than stringed instruments, which is why most old school banda was instrumental. Mariachi, being a lot more subtle, didn't have that problem.
A mí me da mucha pena, señora, su indignación.
Banda wouldn't begin to overcome its obstacles, that is, being ignored and too loud to sing over, until one man by the name of Manuel Contreras, the manager of Fonorama Records, gave the genre a kick in the butt. In the 1980s, Manuel had a lot of success with the grupero genre. And like a lot of musicians from that decade, he made great use of the novel drum machines and synthesizers. While experimenting with various genres and styles, Contreras decided to mix banda with modern technology and created a subgenre called Tecnobanda. Tecnobanda became immensely popular, especially in the US. I'm not going to get into the Tecnobanda trend too much because I already made a video about that. But one curious detail was that old school banda musicians hated Tecnobanda musicians. Real banderos were purists and believed that Tecnobanda was a perversion of real banda. But young people loved the new genre because it was fast, the concerts were modern, meaning they were flashy and loud, and a new dance craze called quebradita was developed in order to dance Tecnobanda properly, which was pretty risque and obviously loved by teenagers. In the early 90s, when the Tecnobanda craze began to die out, old school banderos realized that they could easily adapt the innovations of Tecnobanda while still playing what they considered to be real analog banda. This meant featuring an amplified singer, a huge deal for banda, plus lights, milk machines, and an overall modern show. Since then, banda music steadily became the go-to party music for many working-class Mexicans, especially the ones who lived in the US. Most Mexican neighborhoods in large American cities are located next to black neighborhoods or they're mixed together. So it should be shocking to no one to find out that someone like Snoop Dogg started enjoying banda and that he collaborated with one of the biggest bandas right now. In the last decade, the Latin Grammy president told the Associated Press that the mariachi category was about to become obsolete because they barely received any new submissions. Yet, as I mentioned earlier, Banda MS, one of the most popular bandas right now, easily sold out Madison Square Garden in 2019. Now, I'm actually from Jalisco, the mariachi state, and I hope the genre has a cool comeback at some point, but right now I think it's a lot more important to recognize banda's place in the canon of Mexican folk music, mostly so that prominent institutions and general Mexican society can award banda culture and its purveyors the very long overdue respect it deserves. That's it for this video. You should absolutely purchase Elena Simoné's book if you enjoyed any of this content, and also follow the Americano on social media for more. Ciao.
Y de nuevo el ataque, la fuerza musical de Sinaloa, la banda.